In this video, we will cover some of the basic design tools within LightBurn and general workflow to get you up and running with your Galvo laser as quickly as possible. If you have not already set up your Galvo laser within LightBurn, links will be in the description over to that video so you can follow along and then continue here when you are ready. Now that we have our Galvo laser imported and connected in LightBurn, we are ready to create our first project. For this project, you can use any material you have available, but we'll be using small metal business cards. They are fairly inexpensive, making them great for practice projects. We are going to start by creating some text using the text tool. To activate the text tool, head to the toolbar on the left side of the workspace and click on the letter A icon. Next, click in the center of your workspace to place the text cursor. With the cursor placed, type a name or word that you would like to engrave. I am going to use LightBurn. When you are done typing, press the escape key on the keyboard twice, or click on the arrow icon on the top of the left toolbar to get back to selection mode. In the selection mode, we can drag our text around the workspace, as well as scale it using the boxes displayed on each corner. Now that we have placed some text in our workspace, we can see in the Cuts and Layers window that we have created a layer. This will contain some information about our design. It is saying that everything in our workspace that is in the color black is set to fill mode with a speed of 100 millimeters per second and a power of 80%. We will start by changing the mode to line mode. To do this, click on the drop down under mode and select line. In the bottom right of the Cuts and Layers window, we also have the option to change a few things like speed, power, frequency, and pass count. For my 30-watt laser, I'm going to decrease the power to 60% for the metal business cards. Depending on your laser, you may need to slightly adjust the speed and power. Next, we will head up to the preview button. This is located in the top toolbar and is the icon of a screen or monitor. You can also press Alt and P. Clicking on this will open the preview window, which will show you what our current design output will look like. The lighter red lines represent travel movements, and the black lines are where the laser will burn. Pressing play will show a simulation of the engraving. You are also able to quickly scrub through the job using the slider, and there is a playback speed slider that can also be adjusted. It is highly recommended to get in the habit of checking the preview window each time you are going to run a job to quickly verify that the output aligns with what you are expecting. Click OK to close out of the preview window. Make sure you are still in selection mode and select the text that we previously created. You can easily tell that the text has been selected by the moving squiggly lines. Looking up in the top toolbar, we can see that we have many options to customize our text. We can make the text bold, italic, all uppercase, as well as adjust things like vertical or horizontal spacing. On top of that, we have full access to all of the fonts installed on our computer. Scrolling through the fonts dropdown, we can see our text update with each style as we scroll over them. Take a moment and find a font that you like for your text. At any time in LightBurn that you make a change to your design that you are not happy with, you can use Ctrl-Z or Command-Z to undo your last action. There are also undo and redo arrows available in the top toolbar. Heading back to the Cuts and Layers window, we're going to change the mode from line back to fill by selecting it from the drop-down menu. Without changing anything else, click on the preview icon to see what the change has done to our output. Unlike with line, our text is now completely filled in, and if we click the play button, we can see the laser will travel back and forth in a zigzag pattern, filling in each of the letters. If you are coming from EZCAD and are wanting to run multiple hatches, we have a feature called sublayers that enables similar operations and a whole bunch more, but that we will cover in a future video. Now we are going to add an outline to our text using the offset tool. With the text selected, click on the offset button, which is the O icon in the left toolbar. Doing so will open the offset dialog window where we will have a few options to choose from. We can choose the direction of the offset as well as the corner style we want to go with. Similarly to the font, as you are changing settings in the offset window, you can see the changes happening in real time. For the offset distance, you can use the arrows beside the text box to adjust the value, type a specific value, or mouse over the text box and scroll with your mouse wheel to quickly adjust the distance. Play around with these values until you are happy, then click OK to close out of the window and apply the changes. Click in a blank area of the workspace to deselect the inner text, and then click on the outline we just created to make it active. Then, click on the red square in the color palette at the bottom of the workspace to assign that color to our outline. As soon as we click on the color, we can see that our outline has changed from black to red. Looking at our Cuts and Layers window, we can now see that we have a new layer for the color red. The mode should default to line mode, but if not, we will want to select line mode. I am going to leave the speed at 100 millimeters per second, but I will use the text box at the bottom of the window next to power max to change the power from 20 to 80%. One last time, we will click on the preview button to open the preview window. Clicking the play button, we can see that the laser will first run our text fill and then run the outline. We can use the arrows on the side of the cuts and layers window to change the order of the layers. LightBurn will execute the layers starting from the top and working downwards. With our design complete, we will click on the frame button in the laser window to open the live framing dialog window. Framing will allow us to easily align our design onto our workpiece, and in my case, see that the design is too big. Quickly adjusting the size of the design and clicking frame again, we can verify that the design will fit. With Galvo lasers, we have a few different framing options to choose from, which are bounds, hole, and contour. Bounds is a fairly standard rectangular frame. It will create a rectangle that fully contains the shapes that you will be sending to the laser. Hole, or rubber band frame, traces a path around your design that is the shape of a rubber band stretching around it. Lastly, there is contour, which will trace the walls of your design. The best framing settings to use will depend both on size and geometries of your specific project. We will be diving further into these framing modes in a future video, so stay tuned for that. Once we are happy with the placement of our design, click on the Start button to begin running the job. After a minute or two, you should have your completed engraving. This has been a great first step in learning how to use some of the basic design tools in LightBurn and the general workflow from design to engrave. If you have not already, subscribe and ring the bell to not miss any future videos, and be sure to check out our existing tutorial playlist for additional guides on mastering LightBurn.